So welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get us started on time here today. We've got a chock full session for Webinar Wednesday. My name is Jason Mackey. I'm the Director of Connecting Ministries for the Susquehanna Conference. And today we are talking about resourcing, the different connectional resources that we have throughout the conference. And as we look out to future webinars that we have in our coming up, on September 4th, we have a session on stewardship. It's a great time to start planning those stewardship campaigns for the fall. In fact, just this morning, I got an email asking me to come speak in late November to help a church wrap up a stewardship campaign. Then on September 18, we're going to talk about rhythm, retreat, and renewal. It is so important. If you don't plan your schedule is going to plan you. And we want you to make sure that you take the time and you're intentional about finding that spiritual rhythm, retreat, and renewal that we all so desperately need. And then October 2nd, we've got finance and benefits. I'll be back talking about church finances, little tips for your treasurers, your year-end numbers, and also pension and health benefits and how they may pertain to you in the local church. But today, we wanted to talk about resourcing because as a conference, there are tons of resources at your fingertips, and especially for new pastors, for lay people. They don't realize the resources that are right around the corner and available to them if only they knew. And to talk about all of this, it would be very difficult to get it all into one session. So we're going to try to kind of group and lump everything together. And I encourage you that if you ever have a question, can we get a resource for this? Can we get some help for that? Please contact me in the conference office. That's jmackey@susumc.org. And I will search high and low to see what kind of resourcing that we can get for you. So as most of you might remember from annual conference, we have 3 departments as a conference. 3 different sections that work together, grow, equip, connect, to execute the mission of our conference. And in the Department of Growing Spiritual Transformational Leaders, they are focused on how can we develop today and tomorrow's leaders. How can we develop lay people who will be powerful lay leaders for the church? Young people in Young People's Ministry Council. How can we develop a clergy pipeline to get people from the moment they sense a call until they are serving in a church? And so here to tell you a little bit about Grow is Kevin Witt. And specifically, I've asked Kevin to talk to us about Camp and Retreat Ministries, because Camp and Retreat is so vital to how we as a conference are growing spiritual transformational leaders. So here you go.
Welcome, everyone. I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to be with you as colleagues and as friends. Today, I'd like to talk about Camp and Retreat Ministry. This is one of the most amazing connectional things that we do together, something that's not possible without our united effort. And our Camp and Retreat Ministry impacts about 1,500 persons per year in the summer camp program, but many thousands more in the retreat and guest hospitality dimension of what we do together as we meet at the crossroads between the church and the society in these sacred places, welcoming persons from nonprofit groups and also religiously affiliated groups and families and others who are trying to nurture love in the world. We're very fortunate to have 5 camp and retreat centers in the Susquehanna Conference. Starting from the southern part of the conference, moving north, Camp Penn is very close to Waynesboro and the Maryland border. Mount Asbury, which is an adult retreat center, and also a retreat center for youth groups as well, is located near Newville, not far from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Green Hills is located in Huntingdon, along the Juniata River, the Little Juniata River. Wesley Forest is located in Weikert, which is not too far from Lewisburg, and it is located on Penns Creek, another beautiful river in the state of Pennsylvania. And then we have a very special partnership with Sky Lake, Skylake serves our northern churches. It began when the Wyoming Conference and the Central Pennsylvania Conference became the Susquehanna Conference. Many persons in the northern tier of our conference went to Skylake, and that is a very important place of pilgrimage for our churches and place of spiritual development. And so we're really glad to announce that we have a special relationship with the Upper New York Conference, where Skylake is now owned and operated, but it's just across the border from Pennsylvania, and we are now colleagues in ministry. And they are part of our summer camp brochure. They're also one of our facilities to host church groups and other groups in the name of Christ to open that wide embrace of God. All of these camp or retreat centers are available to you. And we actually encourage you to come and visit each of those camp or retreat centers and meet the directors who are your friends and colleagues in our overall ministry in camp or retreat ministries. Well, why are camp or retreat ministries so important within the Susquehanna Conference and actually within the United Methodist Church more broadly? First of all, there are 5 faith-forming pathways or 5 faith-forming priorities of camp or retreat ministry that make them truly powerful. The first one is creative dislocation. When we look at the life of Jesus and how he developed persons for discipleship, the way he taught them about love, the way he taught them how to embody it, was through direct relationships. And so instead of saying, come meet with us every Thursday at the meeting hall at the temple, his invitation was, come follow me and let's go into life and let's explore life. In fact, those of you who are fishers, when you come on this journey with me, you will learn a whole new aspect of life. You'll learn to fish for people and to fish for people who then spread love in the world. And in camp retreat ministry, we call this particular approach to leadership development and faith formation creative dislocation. And the reason we call it creative dislocation is that Jesus invited the disciples away from their normal routines. He invited them to go on journeys and pilgrimages. And that journey for 3 years, going from place to place, was extremely formative in the development of the Christian church and in their own spiritual lives as students of Jesus and as followers of Jesus. When you think about camps and retreat, we're actually, as a church, inviting people into a similar journey. Come away from your home. Come away from those normal roles that you play wherever you are. Come and experience something new and be with people you haven't met yet and go on this journey, and let's do it so that we can deepen our love, and let's do it so that we can grow closer to God. There are not very many opportunities for strangers, and many people who come to camp do not know each other when they first arrive at camp, where the entire focus is on spending time with God. So it's a very unique form of ministry, and it works hand in hand with the week in and week out disciplines, worship, and relationships of a local church to invite persons into this deeper kind of pilgrimage in which their focus can be on God at a much deeper level because they're not in their normal activities and they're not in their normal responsibilities. And also they have a change of face as well, meaning that they get to try on new aspects of who they are in the world. The second thing that is very important about creative dislocation is that when you're not in your normal space, your senses are heightened. For example, many of us have no idea what we had for lunch last Tuesday, but we can remember a trip that we took or somebody new that we met years and years and years ago. I, for example, can remember a young boy that I met canoeing in the wilderness of Canada. and how that relationship continues to shape me. He came on the trip totally unexpected to me. I learned later in the week that he had come from a juvenile detention center. He was basically serving some time for something he had done as a young person to get him put in a jail in a facility. And the facility and the church met. The world and the church met. The society and the church met and decided that together they can enrich the lives of these young men by giving them opportunities to have experiences that otherwise they would never have with a group of people who love them. And in that creative dislocation, I learned as a young Christian myself to widen the embrace of God and how wonderful people can be that would normally be labeled in a different way. What a powerful experience that the church provided for me as we took this adventure into the wilderness, a place I'd never been with, people I'd never been with, all centered in the love of Christ. Another pathway that is powerful for us is the camp and retreat ministry is experiential, which means that we are not only teaching concepts, but we're immediately trying to live them out in a community together. So we are a community of practice, and that's what we mean by experiential faith formation. We are a community of practice. And so the fruit of the Spirit become not just ideas on a piece of paper, but they become ways of being that we share with each other with great intentionality. I was talking with my daughter and some of her friends who went to camp when they were younger, and she's now in her mid-30s. And one of the things that she says is remarkable about the camp or retreat experience is that people were accepted at a level that she did not experience anywhere else. She didn't experience it at school. She didn't experience it in her music circle. She did not experience it in her sports circles. That somebody who might in other settings be marginalized was fully embraced and fully loved, and that there was a core value there of caring for people that helped them open up and deepen relationships much faster than anyone could imagine. And her remark and her observation was that happened every time that she went to camp. This is not accidental. This is something that the church has created with intentionality so people can go deeper. What would life really be like if we could gather and practice being a community of love for one another and live it out? And so whenever your adults, children, families come to camp, what you can count on is that we're working with you, that they can have this immersion in a community of practice that continues to shape them long after they return and hopefully is integrated within your congregational life. A third reason why the church has established camp or retreat centers is the creation itself speaks of God. Meister Eckhart, one of the great teachers in early Christianity in the 1300s, said that every creature is a word from God to us, and every creature is a word about God. St. Augustine and others lifted up the fact that God has provided us with two words, one Scripture, and the other, the creation, which comes from the Word, which in the beginning created all things. And so God is speaking to us through the natural world. And Paul said in Scriptures, they should have known God because of the things that God had made. And so why are our retreat centers in these beautiful places? It's just not about having a pretty place to spend time at a cheaper price. It's about meeting the Creator through the creation. And Camp or Retreat Ministry excels at this pathway, at this means of grace, at this spiritual practice. And we do it together as a church. Another dimension of camp retreat ministry that's very important is people have the opportunity to explore owning their own faith. In other words, not the faith that I see other people have, not the faith that was passed down to me, but how do I go deeper in my relationship with God, and how is my life going to be shaped by a commitment to be a Christian, to be part of that community, and what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And so we focus on grace. The first part of that grace is prevenient grace, John Wesley called it. We might in modern language call it preceding grace. And that is that we help people awaken and be observant and be in the moment and become much more conscious of the goodness of life and how they are sustained and gifted constantly. For example, they actually sit on the banks of the river, which is the source of water, and they can contemplate that without water, their existence would not be possible. And so they are gifted with water. They are gifted with every breath they take, and so we help them become conscious of their breath and meditation, be conscious of contemplation, be conscious of the relationships that have come into their life that have shaped them, the experiences that have helped them grow. And it becomes really a life of joy and thanksgiving. It's the attentiveness to the beauty of life that helps people become inspired to become part of that flow of love. The flow of love that comes to us constantly, to everyone across the planet regardless. And this flow has been, from the very beginning, given to us by the Creator. And once they understand this flow of beauty and sustaining and caring, they begin to recognize that God is the supplier of this, and that Christ has embodied this deep love. And so they not only accept Christ into their life in an intellectual way, but they also embrace God. If you can see God's love for us as God's embrace of us, we also participate and practice justifying grace, which means, maybe in modern terms, embracing grace. We recognize that at times we have not participated in love and it's been harmful. And we recognize that we are so deeply loved that God helps us understand our true nature, which is to be loving, to be caring, and that we are healed and that we are re-centered in this life of love, which we were made for and meant for. And so we embrace God back by saying, yes, I see your embrace, and I embrace you back. And then finally, sanctifying grace is the grace in which we open ourselves to be transformed and to become sanctified, which John Wesley defines as holiness, and holiness which he defines as love. And so we allow ourselves to be shaped in love and to be an embodiment of that love in the world, which transforms the world through relationships of love. All of this is practiced in Camp Retreat Ministry. It's lifted up. It's deeply connected to our Wesleyan roots. And then finally, Camp Retreat Ministry is one of the places where many of our leaders are called. They had their call to ministry as laypersons. It became clear to them that they could use their gifts and graces to better the world, whether that be in a nonprofit, whether that be in a business, whether that be as a clergy person in a local church. And part of the way that they discovered their gifts is that Camp Retreat Ministry is geared for people to experience leadership. So not only do we talk about leadership, but even young children learn how to lead. And leading is participating with other people in doing good, both within the church and beyond the church. And they start to learn these lessons when they're very young through the Camp Retreat Ministry program. And then finally, we really are one with each other because Camp Retreat Ministry is one of those connecting ministries. It's not done by one single local church. It's done by all of us together. And so one of the things I want to talk to you about, those of you who are coming on board in new settings, is we would love to be in partnership with you. And actually, Camp Retreat Ministry only exists in partnership with you. So there are 4 ways that might be possibilities, and many others that we can create together. Just give me a call and we can talk about that. First of all, anchor churches. Those are churches who use camps and retreats as part of their intentional pathway of discipleship. And I would love to talk with you about how your church might be one of the anchor churches that anchors a week of camp, or it might be an anchor church in terms of having regular systematic retreats for your congregants, to do bridging to folks who are beyond your congregation, or to develop your leadership teams. Secondly, one of the other ways Camp Retreat Ministry, I think, can really be mutually serving is you're a leader who's going to put a tremendous amount of yourself into what you're doing in terms of leadership. Camp is a place for you to come and renew your soul. And we invite you to schedule time to be our guest at the Camp Retreat Centers, and to take that time to renew your soul as a leader, or to get together with other persons who inspire you, and you can develop sermons together. You can find that energy bouncing back and forth while you're also getting rest, solitude, silence. You can also volunteer. You can be a dean of a week of camp. You could be a counselor. Your church can come and do work projects which are absolutely essential to providing these sacred places, the facilities, the landscape. Caring for all of that is a way that you can live out your faith, in a way that you can provide these sacred places for many other people. And then finally, we would love to work with you if it would be helpful in the planning of congregational retreats. We would love to help you in that way as well. Please come visit us, and we will be intentionally coming your way as well. Just give me a call. I'm really eager to meet each other, get to know each other at a deeper level, because discipleship is really about relationship. Spiritual leadership is about relationship. Camp and Retreat Ministry is about relationship. That's where love happens. It happens between us. And discipleship is love if we believe Jesus' teaching that loving God, loving neighbor, loving oneself is really the core of the entire faith. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, in addition to growing spiritual transformational leaders, we have another department, equipping vital congregations. Many of you probably remember from annual conference this year and last year, Kay Cotan was our director of equipping vital congregations. She has sadly left us, but we have a new director, Gary Shockley, who has just brought a depth of passion and wisdom and experience with him. And we wanted to take this time to introduce Gary and some of the opportunities that he will bring through equipping vital congregations. So, Gary?
Hey, everybody. I'm Gary Shockley. I'm the new director of equipping vital congregations. And I've got an important job to do, and probably one of the most exciting jobs to do in the church world these days, because we need more vital churches. Every congregation that ever started out of a place of vitality, energy, and pioneering spirit, and a faithfulness to a calling to reach new people and to invite people into a loving relationship with God through Jesus Christ. And I reflect on that and how much the church has impacted my life. My wife and I are both full-time servants in the church. We met through the church. It was the church that really introduced us to each other. So they offered that vitality. And our life has grown to include 2 sons who were also raised in the church and were part of 2 new faith communities that we started together as a family. The 4 of us started a church in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, and then started another one in Florida. But the person in my life that I think most about when it comes to equipping vital congregations is my granddaughter, Jade. I wonder what life is going to be like for her I wonder what this world has in store for her. It's a scary place right now. And I wonder how the church is going to be able to meet her needs and foster a relationship with Jesus Christ in a very life-changing and shaping way. You have your own pictures in mind. You have your own stories. You have your own connections with the church. You know how important this is. So my job is to work with a team of 10 persons in our Equipping Vital Congregations team. And those 10 folks are working side by side with me to do several things. One is to shape and give direction to what we do in this ministry within our annual conference. The second is to manage a grant process that helps to fund initiatives that promote vitality. And the third is to also offer coaching and facilitation in consultation works that we do with individual congregations, and perhaps your church has benefited from some of this. I'm looking forward to accelerating that and getting more boots on the ground as we resource your church. The focus right now for us is essentially three things. The first is to help churches regain a sense of clarity. No matter how long you've been on this journey, it's good from time to time to stop and ask, why are we doing this? What is it we are called to do? And how are we to do this work together as a community of faith? So vision and strategic planning and those kinds of initiatives, we will walk side by side to help you answer those questions and gain clarity about how God wants to use you now. The second thing is to strengthen our strategic partnerships between churches in a charge relationship. My first church had, my first appointment had 3 churches on a charge. My next one had 2. I worked my way down to 1. Now I'm back up to 840. So I'm doing something right. How do we build connections and partnerships, church to church, churches within clusters, churches in the annual conference, to, again, increase our effectiveness and our vitality, and find ways to work side by side and shoulder to shoulder in some of the same target areas. So the last thing, the third thing, so clarity, strategic partnerships, and developing new places for new faces. Our culture is becoming increasingly less churched. People don't have even a memory of church in many times. What do we do in order to reach them in a way that is appropriate in their life stage? What is to meet the needs that they have, to be there for them when they are asking the deep questions about who am I and who is God and what is this faith journey all about? And so creating new places for new people becomes of paramount importance for us. Those are some of the things we do. We'd love to talk with you. We'd love to find out how we can partner with you as you continue along your road of vitality. You have probably a Jade in your life. Ask yourself the question, what does all of this mean for her? That's enough to keep me on the path for a good long while, and hopefully you too. Thank you.
So thank you, Gary. That was Grow and Equip. Both of those offices are pretty small in size, powerful in impact in that they help every congregation throughout the conference. But the third office, my office of Connecting Ministries, is one that is blessed with a large team of persons who work in diverse areas. And our goal is to connect people on a local church, district, conference, and even general church level. We really are the glue and the grease in the machine, the glue that holds it all together and the grease that hopefully keeps things moving. And we have several different ministries that fall under the category of Connecting Ministries. Probably our most prominent and most best known is the focus in volunteers in mission. Whenever you go on a mission trip, whenever you want to reach out to your neighbors, to the least, the last, the lost, it's probably falling under volunteers in mission. And so I want to introduce to you Michelle. Michelle Schwartzman has been on our team now since, I believe, December, and she has really helped to craft and design a system that is creating a network for missions across the conference and helping you lay a culture of mission in your local church. So, Michelle, here you go.
Hello, my name is Michelle Schwartzman, and I'm the Conference Director of Volunteers in Mission, otherwise known as VIM. VIM is Love in Action and a grassroots short-term mission agency of the United Methodist Church. We train, equip, and connect volunteers to needs domestically and internationally. This year, I scheduled the VIM team leader training in each district. The great thing about this training is that it's actually for anyone involved in mission. There's no requirement of leading a team after completion of this one-day training. In fact, it's helpful for anyone involved in mission, and I encourage team members to take the training in order to better understand the process involved, to help when team leaders are delegating team tasks. The information for that training is on the Missional Board website at susmb.com. Although this is a once and done training, I also encourage those who have taken the course in the past to take it again as the training has been updated, especially in our focus of intercultural competency. The awareness of ourselves, along with the intersecting with other cultures, is key to serving alongside with others in common mission projects. The type of mission that VIM teams do are long-term recovery, construction, VBS, relational or educational, or medical. Some benefits that come with being a VIM team is the team will be covered by the supplemental insurance through the conference. Team members who are new to missions and have a need for financial assistance are eligible for the Dorothy Earl Scholarship. And teams are also eligible for financial assistance for their projects through the materials grant. I encourage you to reach out to me for more information on these. I'm always excited to hear about the ways you are serving one another and putting your love into action. Let me know what you're up to and how I can help. If you're looking for a team to be a part of, I can help connect you. Either contact me directly or check out our teams on the Missional Board site. And the final piece that I'd like to add is that I enjoy getting to hear your stories, but I also get excited about celebrating those stories. And one way that I do that is on our VIM Facebook page. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that we can connect soon. Thank you.
Now, the United Methodist Church has an alphabet soup of general boards and agencies. With the area of mission, we certainly have UMCOR and GBGM, the General Board of Global Ministries, but there's a diverse and vast collection of other ministries that all come into play. And the goal is that we can do something better together, more than any one local conference, more than any one local church. We can do something together on a national stage, but also to equip ourselves better in a local context. As you see on the screen here, there are a number of general boards and agencies that will help your local church in particular areas. For instance, the Church and Society, the General Board of Church and Society, they have the tools necessary if your congregation wants to pursue some justice ministry options. The General Commission on the Status and Role of Women, they can help your church with women's ministry efforts and how you can have a better impact in your community in recognizing equality for women and those who are underprivileged. But also, one of the areas that we reach out as a general church is in the area of disaster response. Many of you are familiar with UMCOR, the United Methodist Committee on Relief, but we also have a local staff person, Doug Hoy, who coordinates our disaster response efforts. And we wanted to introduce you to Doug. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Doug Hoy, and I'm the Disaster Response Coordinator for the conference. I'd like to ask you a question. What is a disaster ministry? And no, the answer is not a bad sermon by your pastor. A disaster is the tragedy of a natural or human event that negatively affects society or the environment. Disasters happen every day in people's lives. Some of them are small and can be handled on a personal or one-on-one basis. Other disasters happen on a larger scale. Things we call disasters vary from person to person and place to place. So with that definition in mind, the mission of the Disaster Response Ministry is to promote disaster readiness through planning, training, and equipping to ensure congregations, ministries, and associated agencies are prepared to respond. We also utilize the connectional system of the United Methodist Church to support an appropriate and an effective response to disasters locally, nationally, and globally. We also provide immediate relief to alleviate short-term community suffering caused by disasters and fulfill physical, social, spiritual, and emotional needs during the long-term recovery process. And we facilitate an assessment of the disaster response and initiate the restoration of the conference. We accomplish this by cooperating with the appropriate conference units and ecumenical bodies to advocate for and assist with ministries for disaster response and recovery. Communicating directly with the United Methodist Committee on Relief, or UMCOR, as well as the United Methodist Volunteers and Missions, to obtain needed resources and assistance for disaster-stricken areas within the conference, or to provide available resources and assistance to areas in need outside the conference. We also do this by coordinating with local congregations to support them as they assist their communities with disaster preparation, response, relief, and recovery. And we do this by collaborating with other community organizations and groups to provide relief for persons in the community who are affected by a disaster. We are currently supporting disaster response efforts throughout the United States and beyond. We are also working on a collaboration project with Habitat for Humanity. So keep an eye out for details in future emails, social media posts, and link articles. If you are aware of someone who is suffering from a disaster within your congregation or community, or if you have an interest in participating in or supporting the disaster response ministry, contact me using the information you see listed on the screen. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Now, if y'all remember last summer, as Noah's Ark was floating around the northern tier of our conference and we got inundated with rains and flooding, Doug Hoy came on board in October and began providing some immediate assistance and relief for those areas throughout Benton and beyond, in the Williamsport area and Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, identifying what was the nature of the damage and also getting us some assistance from the general church. We received a $10,000 grant to begin rebuilding and recovery efforts, and Doug oversaw that. And in his course of time since then, he's also identified that we have more than half a dozen conference disaster response trailers. These trailers are loaded with supplies, some of which you brought to annual conference. They have tools, and they are available for use by volunteers and missions teams and disaster response teams to go to areas affected to help them out. It's just one of the ways that we're able to provide resources as a conference. But there's another resource center that some of you might not be aware of, and that's one that's housed in our conference office. It is Discovery Place. Discovery Place is a resource center of learning materials, small group materials, DVD curriculum, Sunday school and vacation Bible school programs, book studies. It is a collection of every sort of curriculum that you can imagine. It started more than 20 years ago and has continued its ministry. As we look to the future, we are hoping that Discovery Place can be more than just a conference room at the conference office, but we hope that Discovery Place might be able to reach out and connect local congregations in a network of lending organizations that as congregations identify, hey, we did this stewardship study, or we did this parenting study. We have these resources available if your church would like to use them. We're hoping to create a network of such churches. For now, we have Discovery Place. And you can access the library. You can see all the resources that are available at discovery-place.org. You can borrow materials online, and they are shipped to you free of charge. And they come with a return bag so that you don't pay shipping either way. You just simply use the materials and send them back when you're done. It's one of the ways that we're able to deliver on your shares of ministry. Now, of course, our conference office also includes a large communications department. Conference communications are necessary and essential. And here to tell you more about that is Sean Gilgore. Sean?
Hi, everybody. Sean Gilgore here. I'm the communications director for the Susquehanna Conference. I wanted to kind of run some if you didn't know anything about our department, I'll tell you what we do and what we can provide to you and your local churches in almost any context that you can think of within our conference. So first, I want to start with our mission and our vision. Our mission is that mission and vision together are the communications ministry resources our conference through effective and consistent communications, witnessing God's work, and inspiring new ideas to help us grow, equip, and connect in an ever-changing world. And we promote connectionalism between our local churches, between our districts, the conference, and the global church. So a lot of times we are not only in conversations with our local churches and folks between local churches and folks here at the conference, but we're also in conversations with other communication folks and departments around the country, around the world. If there's a partnership that we want to start working on, or resources that we might have that somebody else might be interested in, or vice versa, we start those conversations and kind of keep those going. So it's a pretty exciting field to be in, for sure. First and foremost, our biggest and most public facing, the biggest way you'll see our work is through the website. And in our communications department, we design and maintain the conference and the conference ministry websites. So the ministry websites are things like susumcamps.org, so the camping website, things like that, where they are direct ministries of the conference, kind of like subsets of the full conference website. The website itself for the whole conference contains information about our bishop, our conference staff, the ministries we're a part of and we're conducting, our celebration of life announcements, classified, so job postings and items for sale, news, events, things like that. And we also have lots of resources from our finance department, our health and pension benefits department, our charge conference forms, and our safe sanctuaries. Quick Link is our weekly news and event email blast that you can get in your inbox. These news and events include items that are coming up, workshops that might be being put on by a district or by us at the conference level, important updates from the conference, so announcements from the bishop, our bishop, or the council of bishops as a whole, resources from our conference ministries and our ministry partners, and also Quick Link usually also includes articles from United Methodist News Service and resources from United Methodist Communications and their subset called Resource UMC, which is just all local church resources. And if you want to sign up for our Quick Link service and you're not subscribed, what you can do, it's very easy. Just go to susumc.org, our website, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and right at the bottom there'll be several check boxes, and one of those is, I would like to get Quick Link. Click on that, and you'll get that in your inbox starting the following Friday. We send that out again on Fridays. Our Susquehanna Link is our bi-monthly publication. It is and was our physical newspaper. Now it's our online newspaper. And our main purpose for that, our mission for that, is to share stories of disciple making, transform lives, and the innovative missions and ministries in our local churches. So not only do we want to help tell those stories, but we'd also, if you know of good stories that you'd like us to help you tell, by all means, reach out to us at link@susumc.org. That email address goes directly to Sandy Pfeiffer, our link director, and she coordinates all of our stories and things and does layout and everything for that. So if you have any stories you'd like us to help you tell, by all means, reach out to us. It's link@susumc.org. And also, if you'd like to view it online, we put it out in Quick Link when it's ready to go, but it's available anytime at the email or the website you see here at the bottom, susumc.org/link is our Susquehanna link. For social media, we have several presences. If you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, that's our latest conference news. That's basically what we can update the fastest and be the most up to date, even faster than the website a lot of times. So follow us on Facebook at SUSUMC and on Twitter at SUSConf. So SUSCONF is our Facebook and our Twitter handles there. So again, just information on events, resources, and opportunities to serve as well. For Instagram, we put out photos of our events and happenings that are going on throughout the conference in real time. Like coming up this weekend is Navigate. We'll be putting up content on there as it's happening and things, so you can keep track of what's going on. Our Instagram handle is at SUSConf, so SUSCONF. And our YouTube page is home to video of most of our workshops, trainings that we've done, events, as well as interviews with ministry leaders. So we've done several pieces that are more kind of narrative stories. Some we've done where it's just a few minutes to kind of recap an event. Some are full interviews, some are full workshops, so several hours long of something that's a good resource for you. So again, if you just search at the bottom there, SUSUMC Media is our YouTube page. And you can get to all of these from our conference website as well. For crisis communications and media procedures, second to Bishop Park, I'm the spokesperson for our conference in terms of talking from the conference to the press. So if your church receives a phone call or a media inquiry at all, please refer to our communication plan to know how to best handle the request. That gives you a step-by-step guide as to how to respond at first, but then as things kind of will probably unfold, gives you strategies to go through that process as well. And first and foremost, one of the things to do is to call my office, which I'll give you contact information at the very end here. But just so you know, the communications plan can always be found on our website under our resources tab, or at this website here at the bottom, susumc.org/crisis-communication-plan. It's long, but it's also, there's a PDF you can download and keep on your system and things. So, and again, and that's not to say, it's not to tell you should never speak to the media. If it's a good event, if it's a fundraiser, by all means, if people come out and say, hey, we want to talk to you about a story or what you're doing at your church, well, that's okay by me if you want to talk to the press about that. But however, if it's a, like I say, sanctuaries type issue or some kind of crisis, then by all means, yes, call my office and I'll be happy to assist you. I'll be there to speak on your behalf, things like that. Finally, here's our contact information for everybody here at our office. Conference phone number, get you to the main switchboard and talk to Molly, and she would redirect you to pertinent people in our department, or you see our extensions there and our emails. So whatever we can do to help, by all means, reach out to us and we'll be happy to talk to you. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.
So, of course, communications is essential to keep us all connected and on the same page. And, this is one of our forms of communication, but it also helps us promote what's coming up. And as a conference, we have a great institution, Mission Central, a place where we are connecting God's resources to the need in the world. And Mission Central is having a fundraiser, their race walk, their 5K on October 26th. Mission Central was a dream of missions and ministry here in our conference by Bishop Irons. And the team that led that originally, they did fabulous work together. And Mission Central has been active for almost 20 years, maybe even more than 20 actually, now that I think about it. And you have the opportunity to be a part of that. Your congregation not only can make contributions and donations, but they can go and serve in the warehouse, and they can connect with other churches and hubs throughout our conference. So be sure to check out Mission Central. That's one of the ways that we can continue to be in mission together. But of course, when Bishop Jeremiah Park, our current bishop, came to the conference, He heard about Mission Central, and he had another passion for Imagine No Malaria, and he put them together and came up with Bishop's Partner in Mission. So take a listen about that focus that we also have.
Bishop Partners in Mission is a fund that Bishop Jeremiah Park created shortly after he came to the Susquehanna Conference. This fund is designed to partner the donations of many to do extraordinary things. Bishop Park invites all laity, pastors, and congregations to partner with him to change lives. The projects currently supported by Bishop Partners in Missions are Imagine No Malaria, helping to eliminate deaths from malaria in Africa, and Mission Central, a ministry located in our own backyard, but helps people locally, nationally, and internationally, matching people's need with God's resources. 100% of the donations made to Bishop Partner in Mission go to the projects, and the donations are split between the projects unless otherwise noted by the giver. We invite you to partner with us to change lives all over the world.
So that is the collection of all of the responses that we have here, all of the sharings from the different ministry areas. And so I wanted to ask all of you if you have any questions. Thank you for being here. There are so many other missions and ministries that we can connect you to as a conference. We are connected to other conferences in the state of Pennsylvania, Eastern and Western Pennsylvania Conference. We have the United Methodist Stewardship Foundation, which is working closely now with the Western Pennsylvania Stewardship Foundation to help congregations grow in their stewardship education and investments. We also have Seedling Financial, which is a ministry of the conference. It used to be known as the Loan Fund, where people, churches, and individuals have invested in the future of local churches. And through Seedling, they are finding ways to lend churches money to put in an elevator or make needed repairs or expand in ministry. Seedling is a regulated lending institution for United Methodist churches. And so that's a resource that's at your fingertips. There is so much out there, and I want to invite you that if you have any questions, if you ever just wondering out loud, what's available, is there maybe this, or I think the conference could do that, please be in touch with me. My email is on the screen there, jmackey@susumc.org. We would like to do our level best to help you out and keep you moving forward in mission. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to take those now. More information about the Mission Central 5K. Great question. You can find that at missioncentral.org. The date, like I said, is October 26th. Actually, if you do a search on Google, search the Mission Central 5K 2019, you'll also find, I believe, on active.org or something like that, different running sites as to where you can register. They use an outside vendor for all of that. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for taking the time this Wednesday. Hopefully we will see you next week for stewardship and great stuff. Thanks again, and have a great afternoon.